Alright, so we're going old school on this one. The kids are outside playing in the next door yard, and it'd be hard to film with the kids next door. So I'm putting on the ocean on my noise-making sleep machine. And no birds today. Apologize, I shut my window. Because hearing the birds is pretty cool. So anyways, I came to this really cool conclusion. I just made like 3 TikTok videos, like short, 59-second ones. And because I was sitting on my... Okay, so last night before I went to bed, my mom wrote me, a long email. And it was challenging to get through, so I left out like 3 long emails back. And I slept through the night. I woke up a little bit, probably around 1 or 2, and thought about what, all the stuff that she said and all the stuff that I said back to her, replied back to her. And then I eventually fell back asleep, which was good, thank God. And I woke up this morning and I had this revelation that I shouldn't expect, the only thing I can do in this situation, without a doubt, is just be loving in return. Because there's no other option. There's absolutely no other option. And I sat down and I thought about something Eckhart Tolle said about roles, about having roles. When you go to a restaurant, there's a waitress or a waiter that comes to you, and you're the person that orders food, and they're the waiter or the waitress at the restaurant. So you have these role characters. You're playing roles. You're a customer. They're a waiter or a waitress. Roles, right? And then Eckhart Tolle went on further with it, talking about father and son, or mother and daughter, or sibling, brother and sister, whatever the case may be, and how we get trapped in these roles. We get confined in these roles, right? And the only way to really truly heal and be the present moment and not get caught up in they should love me more, why don't they love me, and not have expectations from other people, is to eliminate the roles, to not have roles anymore. So the first thing I thought about was, okay, I think my mom and my family should love me. And then I was like, why? And I was like, because they're my family. They should. They should love me. They're my family, I was like, well, why? And I was like, well, I talk to myself like that a lot. And I was like, well, because I have these expectations from them. Because they're my family. They should love me. So I'm creating these expectations. I'm putting this weight on them, that you're my family. You need to love me, right? And I'm like, well, why are you doing that? And I'm like, because I'm establishing roles. She's my mother. I'm her son. She needs to love me. Why isn't she loving me? They're my family. Why aren't they loving me? So I created these roles. And then I was like, well, just eliminate the roles. See your family now as not your family, but see them as strangers. See them as people, every time you see them, you just met them. Or there's just strangers on a bus. Erase and eliminate the roles. Eliminate the history as best you can. Which, for me, it's very easy for me to do that, because I can become very disassociated or delusional or present. And I could just absolutely erase the past extremely easily and without thought. Right now I'm looking at the Raiders of the Lost Ark VHS cover, and there's no thought, right? So it's just that can be done, that can be established. So once you see your family or anybody in your life as a stranger without a role, a significant role, and just as somebody that you just met, or a stranger, that doesn't have any direct impact on your soul and your heart and your being that you think should love you, then you're okay. You know, and I think that's the only way. I think that's the only way. That way you don't harbor any resentment. You don't feel any neglect, like you're neglected love. And you know, and I also have to come to the realization that like my family might not want to hang out with me. Like, like they might think that they don't want to spend time with me. I have to accept that too. I have really good friends that want to spend time with me. Like I have my buddy Dr. S. I got my buddy Dr. B. I got my buddy Dr. M. I got my buddy Dr. N. Those people love spending time with me because we don't have any history. Sometimes you have too much history in your family. And a lot of families can't get over that history. They always bring it up time and time again. Like last night, the message I got from my mom, she was bringing up our history. Things that happened when I was 5 years old. All the atrocities and the horrible things that I did to my sister and to the kids and my niece and nephew and to her. And it's like some families can't get past that history. They constantly have it in their subconscious, or they bring it up whenever there's a problem that arises in the family. They're always trapped in that history. And, you know, that's how some people just are. You know, and you have to accept that. You're like, okay, I come from a family that's not, you know, healing or present, and that's what they choose to be. And they fucking hate the fact that I talk about being kind and loving all the time. Oh shit, man, they rip me apart on that fucking shit. They're like, I can't even tell you how many times they're like, you talk about kind and loving shit all the time. You fucking motherfucker. Goddamn, fucking punch this goddamn fucking dog. They rarely say that to my face. They say that through messages. Like, you know, emails and text messages and shit. You know, I try to be kind and loving. I do. You know, but that's why I never fucking claim to be anything. The number one rule in spirituality is never claim to be anything. Never claim to be kind and loving. Because then people will use that shit against you. Like my family always does. My family always uses that shit against me. You talk about being kind and loving. You talk about being meditational and kind and loving. And then they use it against me. Every time I'm not perfect. Fucking goddamn it, man. Never claim to be anything. Because people just use that shit against you. It's like, let's say I'm a guitar player, right? And like, I say to the people around me, like, yeah, I'm really good at playing the guitar. I'm really good at playing the guitar. And then like, I play the guitar in front of them finally. And like, one of my buddies is like, yeah, you're pretty good at playing the guitar. But I got a cousin that's much better at playing the guitar than you do. He's a much better guitar player than you are. And then all of a sudden you get upset. Or you go on the defensive. Like, you're like, you know, like, oh, well, that's because I have, you know, and, oh, I just haven't been practicing that much lately, or, oh, and you're constantly in that, like, line of defense where you're always defending yourself, or you get upset. So I never claim to be anything. You know, like, I never, like, say to my family, like, oh, I'm kind and loving. No, I don't say that. I talk about how, like, you know, being kind and loving is like the proper state, you know, but like, I never like outwardly say like, yes, I am kind and loving. And if I do say that and I slip, then I better fucking stop, because they just keep fucking using it against me. God damn it, I fucking hate it. I just need to get the fuck away from them, man, honestly. Because they don't even fucking like me. Why would you spend your time with people that don't like you? Why? You try to make things work. But if they don't like you, they don't like you. Bottom line. And then they bring up all this behavior stuff. I don't think they understand that people like us, like people that are borderline and stuff, like, we're not in full control of our fucking emotions. That's why DBT was fucking invented. Guess how much research my family's done on DBT? None! Why? Because they don't fucking care. They'd rather just fucking use it against me. You can't control your behaviors. You can't control your emotions. There's a reason why I can't control my behaviors. There's a reason why I can't control my emotions. I started this video being very hunky-dory, and now I'm starting to get fucking violent again. Why? Because I fucking need to. Because I fucking need to. Because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of fucking average people. And if my family's watching this right now, good. Because I'm sick of average people. I'm fucking sick of them. I wish they would all just fucking go away. Because they just hold shit against you. Time and time again, average people just hold shit against you. And then they're afraid of you. And then they don't want you around. And then they distance themselves from you because they don't understand or they don't like you. My family doesn't like me. They obviously don't want to be around me. That's clear. So you know what? I'll just have to find other pathways. I'll spend my time around people that do enjoy my company. And if it's a loss, it's a loss. Because what's the point of trying to spend time around people that don't like you? And that always think that, like, you're dangerous. Or you behave inappropriately. Or you don't behave right. You know, my mom said to me in this email last night that a lot of your behavior, your inappropriate behavior, is, she didn't say inappropriate, she said something about behavior. A lot of it is the mental illness, but a lot of your behavior is not the mental illness, and you need to think about that. In my book, I read about how when we get angry and violent, we're not allowed to get angry and violent because we come across so fucking scary and frightening to these average fucking people. But so we're never forgiven. Ever. People hold on to that shit for fucking ever. They fucking never let it go. They never fucking let it go. They never fucking let it go. Just broke my Christmas dog. Good. I'm glad I broke that fucking Christmas dog. It was probably made by fucking average people. They never let it go. They always hold it on top of our fucking head. They always hold the past over our head. Because when we get violent and when we get angry and when we get aggressive, it's fucking scary. So people are afraid of us. They don't want us around. They don't want to spend time with us. They don't like us. Because they're fucking average. But when average people lose their temper, when they're angry, when they lash out, and when they say shitty things, they're forgiven. Because they're normal and average. They just come across like, oh, they got angry, but it wasn't that fucking scary. Average people they can't get to the point where they fucking want to just like kill people like we do. My mom once said to me in a car, and it was probably like one of the truest statements she ever said. She said most people, when they get to the point where they want to kill people, they don't follow through. They have this like mechanism in their mind where they just hold back and they wouldn't be able to kill someone. She's like, but with you, like you would get to that point where you wanted to kill somebody, and like that mechanism in the brain that average people have that says like don't kill anybody, like she's like, I don't think you have that mechanism, and you would just slice somebody's throat and you would kill somebody. She's right. She's absolutely fucking right. I enjoy the thought. I'm much more homicidal when I don't have birds. Like when I have this wave machine and I don't have the birds, I get much more homicidal and aggressive. That is for sure. I think the birds and nature kind of calm me down. Homicidal videos, baby. 101. Average people, what to do with them. Stay away from them, I guess. I guess that's the only answer, right? Stay away from them. Because they either are not going to like you, or you're going to want to kill them, or they're going to upset you, they're going to depress you, they're going to make you suicidal, they're not going to accept you, they're going to reject you, and eventually they're not going to want to spend time with you because they do not like you. My family does not like me, as is very, very clear. They'll never tell that to me in my face, but they'll tell that me through all these text messages and emails and all this bullshit. Yeah. Oh well. That's life. What can you do? Checks in the mail. As long as I get SSI, I'll keep surviving. It just really bothers me when people hold shit over my head and they don't let shit go. They can't move on. And they, I think the biggest issue with me is, with my family, is that they don't really understand much about borderline personality disorder. They've never really researched it. And they've never really tapped into dialectical behavior therapy either. And, you know, the steps that we have to take when we do get aggressive, or when we do want to, like, kill people, or when we do get angry. You know, the steps that we need to take that we learn in DBT. I think there's a reason why those steps are created. Because we're just fucking outlandishly fucking insane. Oh well. I lost my family. It's clear. And every time they watch these videos, they go further and further away. Further and further away. But you know what? I'm not going to stop making these videos. I'm not. Because they're important. They're goddamn important. And ever since I found out that my sister didn't really like me, and those messages that she wrote me, like, I decided to sacrifice my family for these videos. And even if one person watches these videos, when I die, and I honestly don't know how long I'll be alive, because today I might be like hunky-dory and homicidal. I don't know if you should put those two in the same category. But like 116, I was deeply suicidal. The day after 114, or the day of 114, I wanted to like walk out into traffic and kill myself, get hit by a car. You know, so like I doubt I'll be alive for that much longer. And if I am, that's cool. But if I'm not, fuck it, who cares? Doesn't fucking matter anyways, man. It's not like I'm scared to death. I just miss my birds and my squirrels and my rabbits. I think that's the only thing that's keeping me alive, quite honestly. And the people that like me are cool. Like my friends. They keep me alive for sure. But my family, you know, after I received that message from my sister, those messages, like if I read you those messages, you'd be like, dude, that fucking, your sister hates you. Like that's fucking brutally, honestly clear. And even though you're around, she most likely would be much happier without you around, for sure. And that's why I wrote her back, you know, like after I read those messages from her, I was just like, I think the big issue here is that, like, I wish I would have never been born. And I think that you would have been better off without me being born either. And then she wrote me back and she was just like, no, that's not true. You added a lot of, you know, joy to my life as well, you know, with you being born. You know, I'm glad you were born because you added joy to my life. And I was like, I don't know about that, man. I just don't know about that. I think my sister's life would have been much better without me in the picture, regardless of like her trying to cheer me up and saying that my life would have been better without her, without me being born. Because sometimes you just have to be realistic, you know? Like sometimes you just have to realize that you shouldn't have been born. And the people in your life would have been much happier if you weren't born. Like my mom would have had a much easier life if I wasn't born. Like if my mom's watching this video right now, she'd be like, this guy, what the fuck is wrong with him? Like, my mom's life would have been much easier if I wouldn't have come out of her womb. Like my favorite song, one of my favorite songs of all time, was this song called I think it was called Daughter. I think the name of the song was called Daughter. Or it was by Daughter. Something like that. But one of the lyrics of this song was like something about never leaving her mother's womb and never being born. And it was like a deeply suicidally depressing song. And I was like, that was the best lyric I've ever heard. That was a true to life, amazing lyric. The ebook I wrote, that's in the description, by the way. You should buy it on Amazon. It's only $1. People in your life should read it for sure. It's a good book. If anybody's watching this video. Yeah, a lot of the book talks about that. About like just wishing you weren't born. Because if every day is a fucking struggle, and like your family really doesn't like your company, and like you don't even understand why you're fucking doing this anymore. You don't even understand why you're like still living, quite honestly. It's just like, I don't know. You'd be grateful for things like, well, I'm glad that the electricity is working, and I'm glad that like I have food, and I'm glad that like, you know, I have plumbing and that kind of thing, like, you know. But I don't know. It's exhausting. The up and downs are exhausting. Like this morning I was very peaceful. And then I started talking about like average people again in this video, and I started fucking like becoming homicidal, and I almost broke my Christmas dog. I'm glad I didn't. Sounded like it broke, but it didn't. I can't talk about average people, man. I immediately become homicidal. I really gotta get over that shit. I don't think I ever will, though. I think I fucking really fucking hate them. I really fucking do not like them, man. I really don't like them. Like, all my friends have complex PTSD or borderline. All of them. I do not consider them average people. Anyways, man. This video was a fucking train wreck. And if my family is watching, it's okay if you don't want me around, man. If you watch this video, you fucking this video is a direct reflection of why you should not want me around. I should not be around people. I really shouldn't. I should just stay in my room, look at my goddamn plant, stare at bunnies all day. Yeah, I'm not of this world, and I'm not supposed to be around people. That is very, very clear. That's why I like Nietzsche and Dostoevsky so much. Like Notes from Underground, Dostoevsky, and Nietzsche. Like both of those guys, man. They're like, they just stayed in isolation, man. They just didn't really go around people. They were deeply mentally troubled and emotionally troubled, and they just like, they did their own thing, man. I think that's the way I'm gonna start living, because I think as I'm getting older, I'm getting worse. As I'm aging, I'm getting much, much worse. And this coronavirus is not helping. And I gave up drinking. I've been drinking pretty much almost ever since this coronavirus started. I've been having like, anywhere from like 1 to 6 beers every week. And I stopped drinking about 9 days ago, and and I'm like going through like spells of suicidal depression and homicidal thoughts, because like, I'm not having any coping mechanisms anymore. Before the virus, I didn't need to drink because I had like a family across the street. I had all these like people in my life that weren't drinkers. They were extremely loving, had meaning in my life. But ever since this coronavirus, I lost my family. Like my, family that I see more often than my real family. And they're on their major quarantine, so I can't even be around them. I can't even set foot on the property across the street. So it's like, well, what am I going to fucking do? Lost my family. That I see more often than my real family. So it's just like, so everybody in my life started drinking more since the coronavirus. Everybody in the world started drinking more ever since the coronavirus. So it's just like, what do? I started drinking. And then, so then about 9 days ago, I decided to stop. And I've been more like suicidal and homicidal since, because I don't have coping mechanisms. The easy thing to do would start drinking again. Because if my family doesn't want me around anymore, why the fuck would I stop drinking? Because one of the only reasons why I don't drink is for my family. So if like shit's like hitting the fan big time with my family, why would I fucking stop drinking? I goddamn love drinking. Ernest Hemingway to tea, man. But the shitty thing about drinking is I'm always suicidal the next day, because it fucks with my emotional like dimensions. I think I'll just not drink. Honestly, I think it's just better that I don't drink. It's hard because the coping mechanism isn't there. I've been drinking since I was like 11 years old. Thanks to my cousin. Dirty bag, cheese, whatever. But he friggin', like, Jesus, he went overboard with drinking, man. It destroyed his life. Well, his internal issues, I guess. Anyways, I'm rambling. Anyways, I hope you're doing well, if anybody's watching this video. And, yeah, man, whatever. Birds. Alright, everybody, have a good day. This video was fucking a train wreck.